So my name is Chris Holtkamp. I'm an assistant professor of environmental planning at the University of Wisconsin River Falls in River Falls, Wisconsin.
What was your job before you became a professor?
I worked almost 20 years as an urban planner for the Lower Colorado River Authority. And my job was basically to provide urban planning assistance to primarily rural communities who bought water and power from LCRA.
And what were your job duties?
So I would work with communities doing comprehensive plans, and comprehensive plans are kind of long-term, 10 or 20-year plans, laying out kind of a big picture for what the city wants to achieve over the long term. So it kind of sets that long-term guidance for decision making. We also were involved with like downtown revitalization plans. So particularly in these rural communities, they were looking to use their downtown kind of as an economic activity center, both for local residents and for tourists. And so, things like historic preservation, business attraction, those kinds of activities were part of those downtown plans. And then we also did just kind of straight up economic development. So we worked with communities to help them identify desired businesses to try and recruit, to attract to their communities to help grow their economy, as well as working to what we call business retention and expansion. So working with existing businesses in the communities to make sure they were successful, and then also like local entrepreneurship and those kinds of activities.
What did you do on a day-to-day basis? Or does that kind of sum it up, what you just said?
Well, so it kind of depended on what kind of project we were working on. So, like for a comprehensive plan, for example, a typical day may involve planning for and preparing for public engagement. So, we did a lot of community surveys, we did a lot of town hall meetings, interviews, and focus groups. So, that was a lot of time spent talking to people and getting their ideas about what was happening in their communities and issues and challenges they were facing. Other days we did a lot of analysis, data analysis and data development. So looking at things like population characteristics in communities, figuring out population projections, income, education, all of that sort of data about what the community, the people who live in the community, what their characteristics were. And that would also kind of inform the decision-making process. Some days was GIS, right? So if we're going to kind of connect this to geography, obviously GIS is a big part of that. So making maps of the community, land use, current land use in the communities, those kinds of things. So it kind of varied day to day, but a lot of kind of data work and public engagement, stuff like that.
What attributes, skills, and knowledge do you need in order to have this occupation?
I think one of the biggest ones is the ability to look at the big picture. I think what sets sort of urban planners apart from, say, architects or engineers or like straight up economic developers is that urban planners tend to take a broader perspective on issues. So like where an engineer would look at a road and say, we're going to plan this road for the most efficient movement of cars, right? That's what they care about. They want to just move cars quickly. And they're going to design the road to facilitate that. An urban planner would look at a road and say, well, we need to take into account the movement of cars, but we also need to think about pedestrians, and we need to think about cyclists, and we need to think about the businesses along that road, and how if we just build this wide street to move cars, what's that going to mean for the businesses who are hoping to get people to stop and shop at their businesses, or create places like sidewalks where people can sit for a cafe and have like outdoor seating, that sort of thing. And that's what planners I think have in common with geographers is that sort of big picture thinking and looking at relationships across different factors where other professions tend to be more focused on a single topic.